And welcome back, everyone, to another edition or episode of A World Gone Mad Season 1, Episode 34. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. And for those of you who are new, welcome aboard. For those of you who are veteran Wolfpack listeners, thank you for your continuing support. And what I do is I comment on the news, world and national, and politics. So let's get right to it. So I saw the headline, and I couldn't help but smirk. Former President Donald Trump's social media company, and that's Truth Social, is in deep doo-doo, deep slump that keeps getting worse, wiping out a huge chunk of his net worth. Now, shares of Trump Media and Technology Group dropped last week to their lowest level since the merger that brought the owner of Truth Social public this spring. Now, despite a 7% rebound on Monday, Trump Media has lost nearly 72% of its value since peaking at $66.22 on March 27th. And I'm sorry, I read something like that, and the first thing I think of is the old saying, cheaters never prosper. Good. I'm sorry you're losing all of this money. No, I'm not. Who am I kidding? It's great. You shouldn't be gaining any money with sneakers or Bibles or whatever stupid crap you do. You should not be honored like you are, and especially Truth Social or Truth Unsocial, Truth Untruth, shouldn't be gaining money. I hope it tanks. I hope it explodes. So this article in the news, and I'm sorry, but something like this just makes me think how damn insecure Republicans are. So there are new rules from the GOP Majority Election Board, and this is in Georgia, in the battleground state Georgia. And this could cause major disarray with the election coming up. The once wonky Georgia State Election Board has burst into the limelight this year as a new Republican majority made up of a retired obstetrician, a former state senator who put out feelers for a Trump administration job, and a right-wing media personality. They push ahead with new rules that could create chaos in November. Now, the reshaping of the election board in one of the most critical battleground states of 2024 highlights how some Republicans who cast doubt on the 2020 presidential election results have now taken on prominent roles driving election rules, and in some areas, they're overseeing the elections. With less than 2 months before Election Day, 3 Republicans on the 5-member board are pushing through new rules that could jeopardize election certification, particularly if Vice President Kamala Harris wins the state. Now, election experts and voting rights groups have said this could cause major disarray. The Republicans, a lot of them, not all of them, I don't know all of them, are insecure, so they have to screw with the election results, certification, not to certify, basically the jury rig certain states because, oh my, they can't stand the possibility that Donald Delusional could lose the presidency this November. So let's mess with the state to make the election results on that invalid. That's sick. And these people, I won't even say these people need to be ashamed because it doesn't matter what I say on that. They don't care. They don't care right from wrong. They just want to do whatever it is to win. They don't like results of something, so change it. I used this comment a while back. I asked everyone on this podcast, how many people think Dallas Cowboys will win the Super Bowl this year and go back to back? That's right, 2 championships in a row. And one person wrote me and go, what the hell are you talking about, Jeff? The Cowboys didn't win last year. It was the Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes. And I said, yes, but I didn't like the results. So therefore, in my mind, the Cowboys won, and that's what I'm sticking to. You get my point? Republicans don't like what happens on a result of something, so let's change the rules. Get over it, Republicans. Grow up. Get a backbone. I want to switch gears slightly. I want to talk about something personal that we're going through, my girlfriend and I, and maybe you are as well where you live. It's the Amazon delivery service. And my question for the Wolfpack listeners, is this service getting worse? Here's what happened to us in the last 6 months. See if this resonates with any of you depending on where you live in the country. More of our deliveries that we ordered are going to the wrong address. Now, I'm not going to be a jerk. I understand the overwhelming amount of packages that are getting delivered by Amazon, and the drivers are working themselves to death on their shift. But when you have an address that's 1234 and you deliver it to 1239, you're not paying attention as a delivery driver. And I don't think you're being paid minimum wage. Unless I'm wrong, someone correct me on that. I think you're getting a fairly decent hourly wage. So how can a package be lost like that? More percentages of my girlfriend and our packages are getting lost. Now, I understand if you have 1234 and it's 1320 something, they do dyslexia, but it's not that hard to deliver in our neighborhood. There's a big sign on our front door, says our address on the front garage part, and you can't miss it. And then they show you a picture where they delivered the package, and it's not even your house. And then when you go to look on your own, you realize it's next door that the package was delivered. Here's something interesting. In 2018, this was said about Amazon. I predict one day Amazon will fail. Amazon will go bankrupt. You know who said that? Jeff Bezos. He said in a recorded meeting, and he was heard by this on CNBC in an interview. He explained that the lifespans of large companies typically span 30 plus years, not 100 plus years. Bezos emphasized that the key to prolonging Amazon's longevity was to obsess over customers and avoid becoming inward focused. If we start to focus on ourselves instead of focusing on our customers, that will be the beginning of the end, he said. We have to try and delay that day for as long as possible. Now, for years, we know Amazon has stood as an unstoppable force, commanding the e-commerce landscape and instilling a sense of trepidation in other companies. But Amazon encountered a notable slowdown in sales in 2022 after the pandemic. Its earnings faltered compared to previous periods, indicating a challenging year for the company. Now, as a response, Amazon initiated comprehensive restructuring effort, including plans to reduce its workforce by 27,000 employees. So, has that caused the problem with deliveries? I know for us, we're having that. Are you having this issue? And I'm not saying this is such a big thing in the world. This is the most major thing to worry about with an important election coming up. But has Amazon lost its sharpness and its ability to focus on the customer, like Bezos said? Now, recently we just saw Big Lots, the beleaguered discount retailer that previously warned it had substantial doubt about its survival. Well, they were right. They just filed for bankruptcy. As part of the Chapter 11 filing, the retailer announced that private equity firm Nexus Capital Management is acquiring substantially all of Big Lots stores and business operations. Now, during the process, its locations and website will remain open for shopping. The actions we are taking today will enable us to move forward with new owners who believe in our business and provide financial stability. So the further deterioration of the big box stores. Look at Best Buy, for example. I used to go in and they had intelligent salespeople and more mature salespeople. And now they have 12-year-olds, and I'm not trying to be snarky, but they look like they just came out of junior high school. And they don't know anything about technology. So all the major box stores seem to be taking a tank. Have you found that? What's your feedback? Let me know. Email me at AWorldGoneMadPodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear what you think about this. So Harris versus Donald Trump. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. And endorsements are coming out. And the fascinating part of this is Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney came out in support of Kamala Harris. Former GOP Representative Liz Cheney encouraged anti-Trump Republicans and Independents Sunday to consider voting for Vice President Kamala Harris, saying it's not enough to write in someone other's name than former President Donald Delusional in the November election. Given how close this race is, in my view again, Liz says it's not enough. You have many Republicans out there who are saying, well, we're not going to vote for him, but we'll write someone else's name in. Cheney said in an interview on ABC News this week, and I think that this time around that's not enough, that it's important to actually cast a vote for Vice President Harris. This is from Liz Cheney. Then, former Vice President Dick Cheney said he plans to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. Dick Cheney, think about this, instead of Donald Delusional Trump. He explained that his decision had to do with Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. In our nation's 248-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump, Cheney said. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters have rejected him. He can never, let me repeat this, he can never be trusted with power again. Dick Cheney, 83 years old, said Friday in a widely reported statement. Okay? So, Republicans coming out against Donald Delusional. Now, you get retired military leaders who are defending Kamala Harris while placing blame on Trump for Afghanistan withdrawal in a letter. Now, several retired military officials issued a letter in support of Vice President Kamala Harris as Republicans attempt to tie her to the chaotic 2021 U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Vice President Kamala Harris is the best and only presidential candidate in this race who is fit to serve as our commander-in-chief. She has demonstrated her ability to take on the most difficult national security challenges in the Situation Room and on the international stage. The group wrote in a National Security Leaders for America letter. So what do you have here? Other Republicans, which I'll get to shortly, will claim that these people are rhinos. Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, Adam Kinzinger. These people are rhinos, Republicans in name only. But that tells me the Republicans who claim that just can't believe in our country over party. They just can't, from their heart and soul, defend America by saying, you know what? Donald Delusional is nuts and has dementia. Therefore, we need to support Kamala. Hey, we don't agree with her stuff, but we're not going to turn this country over to Donald Delusional and JD Dumbass. And that's a true Republican. And that would be a true Democrat if it was reversed. People who support their country over party, not the other way around. And let me extrapolate on that a little bit about so-called rhinos, Republicans in name only, accused on the other side, and these so-called true Republicans. Let's bring up Nikki Haley. Nikki, I don't know nothing about the Civil War, Haley. She made a statement recently. Hear the statement, then I'll give a comment. She says Trump and Vance need to change the way they speak about women. Nikki Haley said Monday that former President Donald Trump and running mate Senator J.D. Vance should change the way they speak about women and focus instead on policy positions. Cue the sweet music in the background. She was on an interview on Fox News, Fox and Friends. Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, was asked why she thinks Harris has a 14-point lead in the gender gap among women. Well, Haley said, I think it's because Donald Trump and J.D. Vance need to change the way they speak about women. You don't need to call Kamala dumb. She didn't get this far, just by accident. She's a prosecutor. You don't need to go and talk about intelligence or looks or anything else. Just focus on the policies, Haley said. Haley said that when Republicans call Democratic women dumb, Republican women get their backs up too. The bottom line is, we win on policies, she said. Stick to the policies. Leave all the other stuff behind. That's how we can win. Way to go, Nikki, for going out on a limb there and stretching yourself in your beliefs and taking up for women. Oh, what a 100% endorsement from Nikki about we can't talk about women. And how about, Nikki, the bottom line is you shouldn't even be supporting Donald Delusional and JD Dumbass at all. That's putting country over party, not the Oh, we need to be nicer about the women and the comments we make. Nikki, you're walking a line trying to keep Donald on your side so you can get a cabinet post, but you really, let's be honest, don't give a damn about the United States of America. I want to talk about the debate before I end the show, but I want to throw this in quickly. Here's something very clear that I want to point out. If you are listening to the podcast and you are not a member of the Wolfpack, I am baffled why not. Some people are a member of the Wolfpack, the membership for podcast listeners of this podcast, but apparently don't listen to the podcast. So it's very simple. Every podcaster, to man and woman, monetizes their podcast in the future. I'm going to be doing that. But if you like the podcast, I hope you do. That's why you're listening. Become a member of the Wolfpack. It's free. And when you become a member of the Wolfpack, you're never going to be charged by me for listening to the podcast. So for the 10s, 20s, 80s, 100s, whatever are out there that are listening but are not members, email AWorldGoneMadPodcast@gmail.com. Say Wolfpack link. Wolfpack link. I will write you back. I will give you the link on how to sign up. It's free. It takes 10 seconds to join the Wolfpack. So be a part of this. Also join the Facebook group with like-minded people like yourself who care about our democracy. A World Gone Mad podcast, and it's the Facebook group. Okay, let's talk about the debate coming up. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are prepping for the debate. That's what we hear. Kamala doing the mock debates, getting her facts in order, what she wants to do. And Donald is actually prepping for the debate. And we've got information on how he's prepping. He's limbered up for the debate this Tuesday night with Kamala Harris by showing the extremism that risks playing into the vice president's claim that he's an unserious man who is an extremely serious threat if he's returned to the White House. How is he prepping? He's threatening to jail election officials. That's right. Trump warned he will jail election officials he considers cheats. Ooh, is complaining Pennsylvania's voting is a fraud, to get ahead when you lose Pennsylvania, and vowed to pardon January 6 rioters, repeating that, railed against women who accused him of sexual misconduct, and spent hours in recent days on sometimes incoherent rants that raise questions about his state of mind. So that's his prepping for the debate this Tuesday night. So basically, Donald is clearly unhinged. All right, let's talk about the debate Tuesday night. And obviously, some of you who have early access to the Wolfpack, as a Wolfpack listener on the membership, will get this Monday night, this episode. The rest of you will get it Tuesday morning. So the debate's going to be Tuesday night, so you're not going to hear me comment on the debate because it hadn't taken place yet. But let's talk about a little bit about some of the things that are going to take place that I find interesting. We know about the debate about muted microphones versus unmuted microphones. Donald Trump and Joe Biden agreed in the first debate to have the microphones muted when the other is talking, and vice versa. And they agreed for the second debate as well. And then ironically, strangely, Kamala Harris for this debate with Donald Trump coming up Tuesday night didn't want the microphones muted because she wanted to have Donald look like the fool he is by yelling things out. Donald claimed, I don't care whether it's muted or not. He wants to be talking out loud because that's his style, controversy, chaos. But finally, Kamala said, and rightfully so, we're sticking to the rules that you agreed to with Joe Biden, and the microphones are muted. But here's something interesting, and I'm going to give you an overview. I'm not going to give you the exact wording of it, but the commission doing the debate this Tuesday said, it was announced that if there is crosstalk between the two candidates, in other words, Kamala speaking and Donald saying something in the back and Kamala's answering back, or Donald speaking and Kamala's responding, that's the crosstalk, then the moderators will switch on the microphones and tell the audience at home that this is what's taking place. Now, this sounds rather chaotic. I don't know how it's going to play, but think about this. Kamala's answering something that the moderators asked. Donald is yelling something out loud. Kamala makes a remark back. Moderators go, let's turn the microphones on, and then say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, we opened up the microphones because apparently there's some debate back and forth. All right. Hopefully Kamala keeps her cool and this can play in her favor. Now remember, this is a desperate party, okay? And anything can happen between after the debate and the election in November. However, the debate is a very important moment for Kamala Harris, as well as Donald Delusional. And Kamala can nail it and hit a home run by shutting everything down and making everyone understand that Donald is Looney Tunes, okay? But I expect the old phrase of the other shoe dropping, something's going to happen. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination, everyone. Something could take place between now, or rather after the debate, and November. Remember, this is a desperate party. The extreme Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Loonball and Lauren Bobblehead, J.D. Dumbass, Donald Delusional, etc., and on, are desperate. They know if Donald Trump loses their chance of regaining any type of power, if he doesn't become a president again, they lose that chance, okay? Donald Trump, and he's gone. Let's face it. He's so insignificant at this point if he loses and up for indictment with the courts with all the trials pending. But the Republican Party would be in shambles. So expect dirty crap, ads, stories, garbage. Anything is on the table, people. And I know that sounds weird from me saying, oh, look at this stuff that's going to take place. I really believe anything is up for consideration by the extreme Republicans. So we need to stay vigilant. We need to vote. We need to tell our neighbors why Donald is the wrong choice and why Kamala, whether you agree with her or not, just pick someone who's sane and cares about this country. Please. And with that in mind, we'll watch the debate. We'll hope Kamala stays calm, can handle Donald's lies, and I still say she should turn to him when he makes stupid comments and do the Reagan thing. Well, there you go again. All right? This is a World Gone Mad podcast. I'll be back with another episode next week. I'm your host, Jeff Allen Wolf. And until next week, stay hopeful.